Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter and welcome to my weekly episode. This is episode number 259 for April the 30th, 2024, and I'm feeling much better. I am pretty much over COVID, I hope. Did a little COVID test here at home yesterday, and the faintest of lines you could see. So that's a good thing, because when I tested at the beginning of this, that line was solid and dark. Okay, let's move on to what I've been doing. Well, because I've been a little out of commission, I haven't got a whole heck of a lot done. Now, you know that Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches and myself, we are about to embark upon a series, a sew-along series of sorts. They will be pre-recorded, they won't be live, to do one of the blocks in the Table-tastic #2 book by Doug Lico. And I thought I'd show you what that block will look like. Excuse me, I still have the cough. Okay, here's the Churchill block. This is the one that when we took our poll, you voted that we do. It does look like a very complicated block, and it's a large block. It's 20 inches square, but it isn't that complicated to do. There's not a lot of pieces, but it cuts up pretty fast with the fabric, and we'll show you some tips and tricks about that when we do the series. But this was going to be my prototype, and it is. I did not intend to do it in these colors because I'm going to change the block into a quilt, but I really like these colors. Well, what's not to like? I love blues and I love purples, so it's all there. And Walter gave it his high level of approval. So if Walter says he likes it, don't mess with it. So this is the color scheme that I'm going to be using for my quilt made with the Churchill block. Sorry. So anyways, that's coming up. We're going to start doing our videos in a week's time, and we will tell you when those will be available for you to sew along with. And the other thing I've been making are these little guys. And you're going to say, well, what are these? Well, they're 3D printed, but they are, well, they actually were called Q-tip holders for traveling, which they'd work very well for that. But I thought they'd also work very well as spent needle holders too. So I've made a bunch of these up to go into my packages that will be going to Stephanie's retreat in December. The lid twists off, and yeah, they're a really practical. That's what's called a practical 3D print, as far as I'm concerned. I got to stop making things to take to that retreat, because it will need to go down in a half-ton in a truck if I make anything more. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. I am going to continue working on the Churchill blocks as time goes on, and I've still got the rope here to make a rope bowl, and I just haven't got up the nerve yet to give it a go. But that's on my books to do things too. And yeah, there's some other projects. There's always projects. I did get one of my quilts, one of my UFOs, onto Lucy yesterday and got it all quilted. I'm going to bind it today, and I'll be showing that probably later this week or next week to you. And that was the Progress Pride flag that you may remember. Russ of Quilt Meets World. That's where I saw it first. He was working on it, and I bought the pattern, and I got the top done before we went to Australia, but it's been hanging up. It isn't now. It's been hanging up on my design wall waiting to be quilted, and I'm proud to say I have it all quilted, and I should be able to get it all bound this morning. Okay, that takes me to what's happening, what's next, what's new. Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen tomorrow, Wednesday, May the 1st. 9 o'clock start. All are welcome. Come and go as you please. Links in the show notes. The Idiot Quilter Spring Retreat. I have one spot left. Wow. I have everything worked out as far as the agenda for the day is concerned, and I will be sending that agenda out to everybody who is registered tomorrow, Wednesday. And in that agenda, please read it from beginning to end. It's important. There will be the links for the Icebreaker Cocktail Party on Friday evening starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and the link for the retreat itself. And the doors open at 7:30. Official welcome is at 9. Again, you don't have to be right there at 7:30. If you're registered, you have a spot. It is reserved for you. So all the details are in that email that I'll be sending out tomorrow. And if by chance you don't get that email tomorrow, check your spam. Please check your spam. Some of you are still having a problem with that. And let me know if you didn't get it. But give it some time, okay? I'm going to send it out first thing tomorrow morning, which means it'll probably go out before 9 o'clock. Okay, what else? And I've already mentioned the So Long with Stephanie for the Churchill block that I just showed you, and more details about that will be coming. Okay, so that takes me to some other things. Okay, we all know Missouri Star Quilt Company, right? How could you not? If you've been in the quilting world for any length of time, you know about Missouri Star Quilt. Well, I'm finding them very annoying. I'm on their mailing list, and I get a minimum of 3 emails a day from them every day of the week, including Sundays. It's a little much with them. I'm aware that they're there. I'm aware that they have a daily deal. This just reeks of some of the other online sites that I used to subscribe to for this. And the reason why I don't subscribe to them anymore is mainly because of this. Way too many emails. And I'm thinking of doing the same with Missouri Star Quilt. I'm not saying they're a bad company. Everybody knows they have great prices. Their shipping's pretty good, at least here to Canada. It didn't used to be, but they did something about that. I know that for some of you in the States, the shipping is a real pain. You live like 2 states over, and it takes a month to get to you. Here we get it fairly quickly and fairly reasonably priced as well. I like Missouri Star Quilt is always doing something new. They're always being innovative. They're always getting in the latest things and whatnot. Yeah, I very much admire the company. However, enough is enough. It's overkill with the amount of emails that I get from them. Why? Why do that? In fact, I don't think, there's a, what do they call it? The graph of diminishing returns or something like that. Where, at one point you're not getting back the return for the effort you're putting into it. I have to say that I think twice before ordering from them because they're just too much. If you've ever bought anything from Temu will inundate you with emails. You get an email every hour on the hour from Temu. And we all have our opinions about Temu, but Temu, in my estimation, is not the kind of company that Missouri Star Quilt is. Not just because of the differences in what they sell, but it's sort of an attitude that you get. It's like the used car salesman or the furniture salesman or real estate agents. They just keep pounding you until you relent and buy their product. Well, that's what it's like with Missouri Star Quilt, and I don't think that works in their favor as a company. They have a fairly good reputation for good customer service, quality products, good prices, but why undercut it by over advertising? 1 email a day is enough, and even that might be too much. But 3 or 4 emails a day, that's ridiculous. So I don't know, maybe you don't feel that way about it. I can always unsubscribe from them. Yes, I know that. I could even block them. But the one thing that they do know what, and why maybe they do this, why they send out so many emails a day, is they create a false sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. Because suddenly, if you don't get their emails, you don't know what's on sale. And you hear other people talking about some bargain that they got from Missouri Star. And yeah, so I guess they've got you either way. I guess I have to make the decision. Is it more, uh, is it better if I unsubscribe from them and I just go to Missouri Star Quilt whenever I feel like it and check out the sales? Or do I just ignore the emails and just, keep trashing them as they come to my mailbox? I don't know. How do you handle stuff like that? Okay, so that takes me to subscribers quilt of the week. This comes from Christine. Now, I don't know how to say Christine's last name. It's Tsotso. But regardless of that, here's her beautiful creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Christine, and I can't say Christine's last name, so I will spell it Tsotsos. And Christine has actually done my pattern, my first pattern, When Stars Collide. And this is what she says. Thank you for this awesome pattern. I'm looking forward to your next one. I just finished Elizabeth Hartman's Cats in Pajamas and had some vibrant blue and purple fabrics left that I want to use. I donate my quilts to either Project Linus or a program called Pack a Sack. Our group has craft sales and all the proceeds go to PAS. We pack 130 bags of food weekly for underserved local elementary age students. When Stars Collide should bring in a boatload of cash. I love how your creative mind works. Keep them coming. Well, I'm so glad to hear that you enjoyed my pattern for one thing, and that this is going to go to help a really worthy cause. So a 2-4 in this case. I love the colors in this quilt. The purples and the blues, they all work really well, and you have certainly shown that you can use scraps for this particular quilt pattern. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy brand new fabric for this. Also, I really like your stippling as your quilting technique. That really enhances, I think, the overall final product. And the borders are great too with the colors that you've added for those. So overall, well done. Really love what you did with my pattern. Thanks for sharing, Christine. And that takes me to the YouTube clip of the week. And this one, well, have you ever thought of using your serger to make a quilt? Now, I'm sure you've heard of this because it's all over YouTube. There are many, many videos of people using their sergers for everything from binding their quilt to actually making the whole quilt with it. And I have to say, it's a bit intriguing, but at the same time, it looks a little intimidating as well. So I did see this particular video that showed making a quilt with they call it making a quilt with an overlock machine. That's the other name for a serger. And it is put out by Bernina. And Bernina just has come out with a brand new combination cover stitch serger machine. It looks really, really nice. And they're basically trying to sell their serger to a wider audience. Most quilters do not use a serger for quilting. I have mixed feelings about this, the end product. But they do show one that's really kind of intriguing. So am I going to try it? I don't think I am. But nevertheless, well, here's my review of that video clip, and you make up your own mind whether or not you can make a quilt with a serger. This week's YouTube video comes from Laura Koya, who does So Very Easy, and she always has very interesting videos. I watch her faithfully. However, on this one really caught my attention because it's called Making a Quilt with an Overlock Machine or serger. And I have heard of this technique being used, and I have to admit I have never really tried it. And the reason being is I'm really not fond of the finished product look. But in this particular video, Laura shows you how to do a quilt with applique that makes it really quite interesting. And in this particular video, she's using the unique stitches to a serger to create a very unique look on a quilt. Now, I have to admit that she is promoting the Bernina uh, Overlock machine, and a lot of the videos that I have watched about using your serger to create a quilt are promoting a product, the serger, from certain companies. I mean, it's a selling technique. I don't know if I ever will try one, but I have to say in this particular video, she has piqued my interest. And maybe if you've been thinking about it or have never heard of this particular way of making a quilt, this will pique your interest as well. So that's Making a Quilt with an Overlock Machine by Laura Koya from So Very Easy. And that takes me to future projects. I just got this pattern the other day. I was watching Adam Sews, one of his latest videos, and he made this quilt. It's not his pattern. It's a pattern by Taralee Quiltery. I believe they're probably in the UK. It's called Visionary, but I thought it was a really cool looking quilt, very modern in appeal. So I bought the pattern, and it might be one of the projects I'm going to work on very soon. But in the meantime, here's what I'm talking about. This week's future pattern is called Visionary, and it's by Taralee Quiltery, and I first heard about this and saw it on Adam Sews. He has done one of these quilts, and I thought it was quite interesting. It has a very modern appeal to it, and of course you can do it in any kind of colors you wish. Now he says it goes together really fast, although looking at the pattern, which I did buy, it looks to me like there's a fair amount of cutting, at least according to the diagram inside. A lot of strips. Not complicated, but I think a lot of things to cut out. But I think this would be really, really interesting to do. And it does measure 72 by 72 inches, so it is not a bad size quilt. And I'm sure if you add some borders to it, you can make it somewhat larger than that if you need it to. So this is available online. It's $18 Canadian. There are different places you can buy it from, but I bought it from the source, from Taralee Quiltery, and she goes through Shopify. So the beauty of that is she, I think, is in England, but this converted it immediately to the currency of my country, and I think it'll be the same for you. So not an expensive pattern, and it is a PDF pattern as well. So I'm all for instant gratification. So paid for it, downloaded, and it's sitting in my tray of future projects to work on. When will I get to it? Not sure. You might be interested in it though, so go check it out. It's called Visionary by Taralee Quiltery. And that takes me to the online quilt store for this week. I have pretty much exhausted the number of quilt stores I could find online for my own province, for Ontario, so I'm branching out to the rest of Canada. And this week's is called Quilt Nut Creations, love the name, and they're out in Chilliwack, BC. This week's online quilt store is called Quilt Nut Creations, and this one's located not in Ontario, because lately I have been doing quilt stores that are only in Ontario, Canada, but I'm branching out now because there's not many left that I haven't done, at least as far as I can find. So I'm going out to BC this week to Quilt Nut Creations, which is in Chilliwack, BC. So let's take a look at what they have to offer. So this is their front page right here, and they have some featured items. Something called Strawberry Season, a whole line. I'm not sure who that's by. $4.75 a quarter meter. Like that they're showing this right up front, so that puts it at just under $20 a meter. Let's go down. They have some more pictures. Quilt shows that are coming up. They announced those. Okay, so let's go to Shop All. And we've got fabric collections, clearance, curated, fat quarter bundles, patterns, quilt kits, Christmas wide backing, and batting. So let's check out the fabric collections. They have Andover, Kentuck Cotton, Dear Stella, Elizabeth Studio, Kimberbell Basics, Kona, and lots. Maywood Studios, Timeless Treasures. I do like Timeless Treasures. Let's check that out. So they've got solid blends, holidays, well, various themes that are here. So let's just pick one and see what they're pricing that on. Let's look at, say, Paris. I don't think I've seen that one before. $3.75 for a quarter meter for one, up to $4.50. So all under just under $20. A little less than that. $3.75 for 16, so around $17.50 to about $18, $19 a meter, which is a good price. It's in there. I always hesitate when I say whether that's a good price or not, because to me a good price is $15, $16 a meter, but I'm spoiled because that's at my local quilt store. But everywhere else it's closer to 20 or more. So yeah, so I say that's a going rate right now. Okay, let's take a look at, so they have everything under fabric collections, it looks like. So if you're looking for a very specific fabric collection, this might be where to go. They have 22 pages of them. Let's go back up here to the top and let's look at their clearance. And they have a few things here. $2.25 for a quarter meter, so as low as that. Seems like what generally the ones are. Oh, even one cheaper. $1.25 for a quarter meter. Okay, really trying to get rid of that one, aren't they? Yeah, there's not a bad selection. Some interesting things here. They got a couple of pages of that. That's clearance. Okay, curated fat quarter bundles. Oh, here we go. So various prices, I guess, depending on how many's in the bundle and who the manufacturer it is. Again, prices seem to be what you'd expect. And they have 4 pages of these, so really not a bad selection of fat quarter bundles. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, patterns. Okay, they list their patterns by company. Prairie. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm not really fond of the way they've organized them by name of the company, but then a lot of people do buy their patterns according to the manufacturer. So maybe that is something that people like. All right, let's take a look at quilt kits. Okay, so they show the fabric for these kits, but well, some of these are showing patterns with them. I'm curious about these ones though. I'm wondering if pattern, oh, well, what's the pattern? I'm a little confused. This kit includes enough fabric in the pattern to make a quilt top of the Bear Camp quilt by Amanda of Prairie Quilt Company. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't show the pattern, so I guess you'd have to do a search here either on their website or in general to find out what that pattern looks like. That seems a little weird. Why wouldn't you include the pattern with it? Like, okay, and the prices vary on this. So if I want, so I have to select my background. So if I just select this, that changes the price. Okay, so yeah, if you don't want the background, oh, but you have to pick background. Okay, interesting. Because when this first came up, it came with a range in prices, but why are they giving you a range? If you're going to have to buy, oh, that changes it. Okay, so, all right, this is a little different. I've never seen it done this way before when it comes to a kit, but I guess that's the way they do things. All right, so just beware of that. All right, let's take a look at what they've got for Christmas. And yeah, they have the usual kind of things for Christmas fabric here. They have 2 pages of them. And they're about $3.75 for a quarter meter, which is, again, in the ballpark. Wide backs. Let's see what we have for wide backs. Well, that's not a bad price for wide backs. $23.50, $24.50 a meter, $16.50. That's pretty good. But they don't have that much to choose from. I kind of like this blue one. But yeah. And batting. They have Hobbs, 120. It's $24.75 per meter. Not a bad price. Not a fantastic price, but not a bad price. Okay, so it looks like they also have long arm quilting services as well. All right. And I guess that's it. Doesn't look like they offer any classes or anything like that. Shipping. Let's see if I can find something about shipping. Here we go. Oh, okay. Items shipped via Canada Post within 3 business days. Canadian orders, free shipping on orders over $100 pre-tax. Okay, that's pretty good. $17.50 for orders under $100 sent with tracking number. In the United States, it's $20 shipping, includes tracking. Continental states only. So okay, shipping isn't bad. Shipping's pretty reasonable actually, because it would be easy to get over $100, so you get free shipping, so that's okay. Okay, so that's Quilt Nut Creations in Chilliwack, BC. You might want to check it out. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. Just a few notes here. Of course, remember, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen Wednesday, the retreat, icebreaker cocktail party Friday night, retreat itself Saturday. 1 spot left still. I am now not accepting any more pictures for the show and share slideshow. The deadline was last night, Monday, April 29th at midnight. So those have all come in now. Sorry if you missed the deadline. But there's nothing saying you can't show it to us during the retreat, maybe during one of my what I call victim shows. And yeah, it should be a really great time. So watch, for those of you that have registered, watch for the email that's coming out tomorrow with all the details and the agenda for the day. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.